Hello, you're listening to From McClay to Zelma. I'm your host, Karen Miller. This podcast is about the adventures and travels of two women from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who work for the U.S. Army at Zama, Japan. Their stories are told through hundreds of letters written home. Welcome to episode 10, which is actually Earthquake, and it includes letters 21 and 23. I have a little guest on this episode. A little bird has decided to land in the tree beside my window and is making quite a lovely song. And I'm going to leave it in because I can picture that Bern and Peg have their windows open while they're writing their letters. So before we get started, I have to tell you what I learned about Gloria. She grew up at 534 McClay Street and was the same age as Peg. They both graduated from William Penn High School in 1945, and Gloria was working for the State Medical Society when she married a man named Robert Petrie. Yes, the main character on the Dick Van Dyke Show. Although their last name is spelled P-E-T-R-Y, and on the show it was P-E-T-R-I-E. She seemingly stayed in the Harrisburg area and stayed married to Robert. She passed away in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania, which is just a suburb of Harrisburg, in September of 1992. So, letter 21 includes information about a strike that's going to happen with the Japanese workers and an article that Peg found about Japanese food. A photo of the article is available on the website if you want to see it. And since the name of this episode is Earthquake, you might be expecting some drama, but not this time. I began to research to find the magnitude of the earthquake that occurred on August 12, 1953, and I got a surprise. Did you know that Japan has 2 to 3 earthquakes every day? So clearly, this one was no big deal. However, in November of 1952, there had been a 9.0 earthquake that killed 10 to 15,000 people. So I'm sure that was on everyone's mind. It also generated a tsunami that reached California and did some damage there as well. When I looked into the strike, I discovered that there had been a violent strike in May of 1952 in Tokyo that killed 2,300 people, or injured 2,300 people and killed 2. According to the Nippon Times, sporadic violence continued across the country throughout the summer of 1952. For example, anti-American protesters clashed with police in Osaka in June and hurled Molotov cocktails at police and American military vehicles in Nagoya in July. Later that year, popular outrage at the continued presence of military bases in Japan, even after the occupation had ended, would coalesce into a nationwide anti-base movement, beginning with large-scale anti-base protests in Uchinada and Ishikawa Prefecture from 52 to 53. Clearly, Bern and Peg are trying to downplay all this for their parents. But if I know Helen, she and John would have been very up to date on what was actually going on. They were all voracious readers and would have gone out of their way to find out as much as they could. Sometimes I try to explain to my students how much the internet has changed access to information, and this would be a good example. It does seem that Peg is concerned that they might have heard news reports about some of this unrest. Speaking of newspapers, their hometown paper was the Harrisburg News Patriot, and Peg says in no uncertain terms not to give any interviews. Boy, would I like to read the unfortunate article that poor Vi Domenecki's parents gave. So let's get started with letter 21 from Peg, written August 12, 1953. Says it's from you-know-where. Dear Mother and Daddy, well, it's me again. Things have been pretty quiet around here for the past few days. Right now, though, the Japanese people who work for the U.S. government are having a strike throughout Japan. Someone said that about 100,000 of them are striking. They plan to strike today and tomorrow. It seems as though they want to prove to us that we can't get along without them. But it seems so stupid because, after all, we gave them the right to strike. It doesn't inconvenience us too much, at least so far it hasn't, except that our maids aren't working at all. Gad, to think that I'll have to make my own bed and wash my own clothes. We aren't supposed to go through their picket lines. We live in South Camp here at Zama, and we have to go to North Camp for work across the road. Also to eat, or go to the snack bar or the officers club. So instead of walking right across the road, we must take the long way around. Some of the GIs are driving buses, but of course there are no regular bus schedules. We're stuck here in Zama until the JNs, Japanese nationals, go back to work. And I sure hope they stay out only the 2 days as planned. Talking about buses, all the bus drivers are JNs. We have gotten quite proficient in saying, "Shot mat, boy-san," when we want him to wait a minute for someone. I can tell a cab driver to go either left, Hodari, or right, Miji. And I sure get a Tako-san charge out of spouting off my very limited Japanese. Tako-san means big or large, and I did spell it wrong the last time I wrote it to you. Last Friday night, we went into the 45 and had the usual good time. Bern is getting a big charge out of our evenings there, and I sure have a good time too. We dance almost every dance. Saturday, she and I went into Yokohama and bought some more junk. I bought her a Hakata doll for her birthday. It's the one of a man dyeing some silk. We each bought a screen for our doors. They're bamboo. They're nailed on the outside door frame and come almost to the floor. It gives us a little more privacy than just having the door wide open, and we still get the benefit of the cross ventilation. They're real sexy. All we need is for Alan Ladd to come in the room in a burst of gunfire, and it would be just like a Far East movie. I bought a pair of straw Gettas, like I sent to Nancy, but they're ever so uncomfortable. I think my feet are built different from the Japanese. Saturday night, I had a date with Jimmy, the sailor, and guess what? I had a home-cooked meal. He has some friends who live down in Sagamihara, a dependent housing area near here, and we were invited there for supper. Boy, oh boy. I had ham, peas, potato salad, tomatoes, pickles, iced tea, and bread and butter. It certainly tasted good. Sunday, we went to the movies and saw The Story of Three Loves. Bern works with a girl who is a dependent and lives in Sagamihara. Her name is Pearl. I stopped at Pearl's house on Saturday night for some rolls that Bern had her get for our breakfast, and Pearl has a little organ. She paid about $50 for it. It's not very large, but they're real cute. I'm going to get one. I met the billeting sergeant on Saturday night, and I put a buzz on him for a larger room. I don't even know whether I can have one in my room, but after I buy it, they're not going to make me get rid of it. I'll let you know how I make out. The other day, I was reading Stars and Stripes, and I saw a picture of Tommy DeWalt in an airplane evacuating prisoners from Korea. Bern sent the picture to Ann Leiter. Did Ann show it to you? If I don't forget, I'll enclose an article from Stars and Stripes that might be of interest to you. But I'll probably seal this and send it without remembering. I'm like that, you know. How is Mary Worth making out? We get Dick Tracy, Little Abner, Blondie, Terry, and the Pirates. Steve Cannon, and one or two more. I've been thinking about asking you to send us the paper, but I think it's probably too expensive. Just write and tell us the important news. Going to lunch now. We'll finish later. Got to the snack bar okay. They aren't objecting to our going through the picket lines. Bert and I both got paid today. I got $105.30, but I don't know how much Bern got. A lot, though, because it's for the 22nd of June up to a week ago. She owes me $50 and said she will pay it to me now, so I can get my organ anytime. Yippee! That about catches us up on the news. We haven't gotten the boxes yet, and it's like waiting for Christmas. Please tell people to write. I've written to Aunt Pete and Avis twice, Louise and Stucky twice, and some other various people too. They probably feel that they don't have any news, but anything at all about Harrisburg or its people will sound great. Take care of yourselves. Is it still too hot? It is here. Love, Margaret. Letter 22 from Peg. August 12th, 1953, Camp Zama. Dear Mother and Daddy, I felt my first earthquake today. For about 5 seconds, I thought I was back on the Buckner. The windows rattled and the whole building shook. Be sure to tell Nancy. The strikes are still on with us. They got excited today and overturned an American car here, so we were forbidden to go through the picket lines tonight. Neither they nor anyone else knows why they are striking, but someone tells them to strike, and so they do. They're wonderful followers, but poor leaders. Of the girls in my office who have been here for about 6 years, one of the girls in my office who's been here about 6 years, talked to me for about an hour this afternoon and was telling me about the political setup of Japan and our relationship with them. It was really interesting. Is there anything in the paper back home about the strike? Talking of papers, some of the girls I've talked to have told me that their local newspapers have contacted their families and wanted write-ups about them and what they thought of the Far East Command. In case the evening news should contact you, under no circumstances do I want you to tell them anything. Bern agrees with me too. What we have written is strictly our own opinion. One of the girls in particular, Vi Domenecki, said that her family, when requested by the papers, gave them excerpts from some of her letters, and when they sent her the clipping, she was very embarrassed. That happened when she had been here for just a short while, and since then she realized how wrong she was in some of her impressions. We're spending a quiet evening at home. I just washed my hair, and I'm going to read Desiree as soon as I'm finished with this letter. The other day, my maid gave me a sprig from a holly tree, so I bought her a lipstick. The note that's enclosed is what she gave me. I tried to post it, or I have a picture of it, but it's difficult to read. When she comes back, it's what she gave me, but she had one of her friends write it. When she comes back to work, she'll probably bring me half of her possessions, because when you give a Japanese person a present, they give you a present, and it goes on indefinitely. My boss went to Korea for a few days, so I'm being bored again. That's all the news I can dig up now. Is Blondie okay? Love, Peg. Letter 23 from Peg, written 17th of August, 1953, Camp Zama. Dear Mother and Daddy, received your letter of the 9th of August on Saturday, but I don't work Saturdays, so it was here waiting for me this morning. That was a real nice letter with all that lovely, wonderful food information and lots of news. First, I guess you'd better get the coats ready. You're going to send my brown one too, aren't you? Or did we decide that I didn't want it? Either way is okay. I know we should have written and told you not to send the hats because no one over here wears them except for church. But we'll be real fancy when we do go to church this winter. I'm glad you explained about Gloria's gift. I will get her something, but I don't know when I'll get around to it. I want to get her something pretty nice, and it's harder than you think to find suitably nice gifts for people. As I said before, most of the stuff is tourist junk. You are quite the characters. It sounds as though you're having so much fun and doing lots of different things that I'm convinced we should have left home long ago. Is Robin's Field the one up Division Street? Bed covers. Mine are light blue wool, and I have 3 of them. Bern's are yellow, and she has 3, too. They're very nice. In fact, they're as nice as the ones we have at home. Still haven't gotten the boxes yet. When we get the spreads, we're going to have some pillows made to match them. There's a German lady down in Sagami, not far from here, who makes these pillows, and Vi just got 2 from her. They're like sofa pillows, and they're made out of raw silk. The raw silk covers have a zipper on so it can be taken off and laundered. They cost about 1,200 or 1,400 yen. The pillow on our bed isn't too big, and it's pretty uncomfortable to prop ourselves up in bed with. I mean to say we each have 1 pillow. Get it? John, why don't you get that suit? The stores are air-conditioned, and it shouldn't be too hot and uncomfortable for you to try them on. Mother, you're a buster. No, I wasn't scared when I missed the bus. In fact, it's getting to be a regular occurrence, and when it happens, we just take a cab. A girl is much safer on the streets over here than she is in riding the 6th Street bus in Harrisburg. There's always an MP around somewhere, and we are not in the least hesitant about being on the streets alone. That doesn't happen very often, though, because we are usually with someone else, and we don't stay out too late. So don't worry. I can even go into Tokyo by myself now. I'm getting that educated. And we can be out as long as we wish. We have met a lot of people, and maybe someday we will run across Phil Don or Herman Seeler. A sergeant from NCGD, Murray, is over here somewhere, and I'd like to see him, but I'll just have to take the chance of running into him somewhere. I mentioned about your air-conditioned stores. You really don't appreciate them, you lucky people. The fashion over here is just to be wringing wet, and I'm not exaggerating. When we go to the 45, everyone looks like they just had a dip in the pool with all their clothes on, but that doesn't stop us from dancing. I just had the most wonderful weekend of my life. Jimmy and I went into Tokyo. Gad, what a time. He got off duty about 4:30, so we got to Tokyo around 8 p.m. We went to a big NCO club there, the Rocker 4, and headed straight for the dining room. Naturally, we had steak, and it was very good. Then we went up to the Crystal Ballroom and danced until it closed. After that, we went to 3 more clubs and just had a wonderful time. Some of the gals we came over with are staying at the Okaji Hotel in Tokyo, a DAC billet. Jeanette had a date in Tokyo too, so we called Teresa and asked her if we could stay there Saturday night. Teresa has a huge room and 2 couches in her room, so that's where Jeanette and I stayed. It's a lot of fun this weekend business. Almost everyone knows someone in Tokyo, so we just call them up and ask them if we can use their bed, because the people in Tokyo usually go out to the country for the weekend. So we just pack a suitcase and make their room our headquarters. Well, to get on with the story, Sunday, Jim and I met in the snack bar of Old Kajo and had a hamburger. Then we went back to the Rocker 4 and went into the Marine Ballroom. They have 2 ballrooms and both are quite lovely. The main attraction in the Marine Ballroom on Sunday was a Japanese hillbilly band. It sure was funny to see them all decked out in flashy shirts and big Stetsons and boots, but they were very good and could bang out a mean Western. Now this is the part you'll appreciate, Mother. We were hungry again, and by that time, so we went to Suharo's and had sukiyaki. Nancy will tell you about it if you don't know. Her Miss Keffel told them about it in school. First, the waitress, San, puts a little gas burner on the table with a pan that's almost like a frying pan. Then she puts in a hunk of fat and melts it. Onions are next on the list, and they're sautéed, but not browned. Beef goes in with quite a lot of soy sauce. Then she put in cabbage, sprouts of some kind, and cooks the mess all together. By this time, we had been served a very wonderful salad with fresh vegetables and pieces of ham in it. Of course, no forks were served, and the waitress actually laughed out loud at us trying to use the chopsticks. We used them more as shovels, although she did her best to show us the correct way to use them. Well, the sukiyaki is ready now, so she put a little bit in a dish that was sitting in front of us with a beaten egg in it. It is out of this world. A side dish of rice was served, and although neither one of us cared too much for rice, Jim said they are highly insulted if you don't eat at least a bit of it. For not liking rice, he ate all of his, but I didn't go quite so well. We each had a glass of Nippon beer along with the meal, and that was real good. So now I've had my first meal of sukiyaki, and I just love it. I kept telling Jim what a tokusan charge my mother would get out of it, so I've tried to tell you how to make it. When are you going to make it for Daddy? The beef is sliced in very thin slices, and it's surprising how short a time it is cooked to be so well done. Then we got the train from Yokohama and stopped in the 45 to see what was going on. Then we got the train for Yokohama and stopped in the 45 to see what was going on. By that time, we were just exhausted, so we got a cab home. All in all, it was a super terrific weekend, and one that I'll never forget. I wanted to give Jim some yen or script because I didn't feel that he should foot the whole bill, but he would have none of it. He really is the nicest fella. In fact, the more I meet the other guys, the better I like Jim. Talking about fellas, we met a Donald Tuttle in at the 45, and Bern and I like him a lot. He's going home in a month or so, and he lives in Pittsburgh, although he's originally from Massachusetts. I asked him if he would call you when he gets home and just tell you that he knows Bern and I, etc. But the bugger has a girlfriend in Pittsburgh, and he said he isn't too sure if he will be thinking of much else for a while. He's a screwball, and I laugh constantly at him. I'm going to keep working on him, though, to get a promise out of him to call you, because he said that once he makes a promise, he sticks to it. I think he will, but he's just giving me a hard time. I told him that you would invite him for a meal, and I know you'll like him a lot. He may say that his name is Sam or George or Al, but as long as he says his last name is Tuttle, that's the guy. Every week he goes by a different name. I called him Sam last Friday night, and he said that Sam died and he was Al. See what I mean? I'm so hot now that I'm half sick in my stomach. There isn't a breath of air anywhere. I think it's the hottest day yet, and everyone is minding it tremendously. Today I got a sprinter pot, Sprinter. I had to print that because you probably wouldn't be able to decipher it if I wrote it. A sprinter pot is a 3-cup teapot with an electrical unit inside of it. This pot sits on a little affair, something like a hot plate. On the bottom of the pot are 2 metal prongs, and they fit into 2 receptacles on the plate. The wire is attached to the hot plate, and you just plug it in, and in a few minutes you have hot water. I hope I can keep without breaking it until I get home, because I know, John, that you'll be particularly interested in it. It's made out of some kind of ceramics. Maybe I should send one to Duff. Bern and Vi went to see Peter Pan here at Zama, but I just couldn't fight that stuffy theater. Vi is the nicest person. She's from New Jersey, and she says she's coming to see you when she gets home. I let her read your last letter, and you should have heard her when she read about the food. We all exchange letters from home if we don't know the people, it's still fun, and we get a kick out of them. Most all the families write about the same things, so I'm getting to know lots of people that I'll probably never see. Woo, I'm taking the salt tablets tomorrow. My job is a lot better now. People even talk to me first. It's still boring though, except today I did some work for the front office that was pretty interesting. I borrowed a pair of shorts from Jeanette tonight. She lost her wallet in Tokyo over the weekend and I loaned her $10. So I said if she let me have the shorts, she didn't have to pay me back. But she did pay me back and said I could have the shorts anyhow. Isn't that nice? Oma used to live next door to me, but she moved to a bigger room upstairs. Jeanette's section moved out from Yokohama last week, so she got the room next to mine. She's from St. Louis. We're pretty good buddies. You know, it's going to seem funny when I get home and mention these people, because I know some of them so well, and it seems like you should know them too. It still doesn't seem as though I'm over 8,000 miles away from you, but you're right here with me in lots of things. Bern and I often talk about different things that you both would get a charge out of. Daddy, you'd be interested in the buildings and the port in Yokohama and the trains. Mother, you would like to see the people and how they live. The train system's very good. There is a train to almost anywhere, or at least to Tokyo, every few minutes. From Sagamihara, the closest train station to Zama, we have to ride third class with all the masses. And what a mass. If they're on the train more than 10 minutes, they fall asleep, no matter what time of day it is. Baby gets hungry, so baby gets fed right there and then. And what packages? Everyone has at least one package with them, from a book to a crate strapped to their back. Coming home from Tokyo, we get second-class tickets, and those cars are very nice, just like ours. Well, people are dropping in tonight, so I'll close now and play hostess. I wish it was cool so I could make them tea with my new pot. Love, Peg. P.S. Mother, I don't really think it is necessary to send my fur coat. Vi said that it doesn't get too cold here at any time, so my Millium lining coat should serve the purpose. But I'll wait till Bern comes from the movies, and then I'll give you a different answer. I can't tell you now, but we're going to have a party. Bern and Vi just came back from the movies, so Jeanette, and I are going to have a beat the heat party, because we know we'll never sleep. I'll write you tomorrow, as soon as I consult with Bern about the coats. Peg. We don't share all the letters, just some of them, so don't hesitate to write personal stuff. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, and if you are, please subscribe in Spotify. On Apple Podcast, hit the plus button in the top right-hand corner. This will help my listeners find my podcast more easily. You can access the show's website at www.FromMcClay2Zama.com for pictures and additional information about the topics discussed. In the next episode, episode 11, Strike, you will hear letters 24 to 26. I hope you have a great weekend.